Hari Om Tat Sat. Ladies and gentlemen, you've probably heard me do a number of mantras before I begin a class or sometimes during a class. And I get a lot of questions. What are mantras? How do you do them? And there's so much, bullshit on YouTube and online. By the way, bullshit is a mantra. It's a powerful mantra. Hum Pat. It is a mantra that breaks up someone's stuff when you say it in an appropriate way. If you don't say it in an appropriate way, it can cause you harm. And that's what mantras are all about. End of class. No, but I will go on a little bit because I think clarification is in order for people who want to start a mantra practice. And one of the great things about Vedic astrology is that it is full of upayas, which are remedial measures. One of these upayas is mantra upasana, the practice of mantra. I will be talking about another type of upaya, which is in some ways easier, which is changing your location. Even changing your location just for your birthday. I've actually done some videos on this before, but I will do one in the next couple of days as a remedial measure to adjust your horoscope. But if you can't change your location, or in addition to that, you would like to pursue the traditional Vedic practice of doing a Sanskrit mantra, this video will be hopefully useful to you. So let's get right into it. Today's topic, mantras for dummies. By the way, it is not a mantra, okay? Mana means pride. Mantra, mantra. So mantra means the thing that protects your pride. So a mantra you're doing for your pride and your ego. So even how you pronounce the thing. But I promise I will not be a Sanskrit Nazi in this video. But if you want to say mantra, that's fine. But it is mantra, okay? So maybe that is the first lesson. And if you're already turned off by this, then switch this video and go watch something else where they talk about mantras. Anyway, mantras for dummies. Here we go. So why do we do? How to do a mantra? First of all, these are the most common questions I get. Silent or out loud? It's a great question. Here's the deal. Unless you're pretty advanced and you have purified a lot, do it out loud. The reason is doing it out loud creates a vibration. Om namo vradapadaye namo garnapadaye namak paramadapadaye namaste astu lambodharaya ekadantaya vinyavinashine shivasutaya shri varada muhurtaye namaha. You are vibrating when you do it. Your brain, your lungs, your heart is vibrating in a way that arranges your molecules, your subtle body, your channels, and so forth. When you do it silently, you're also vibrating because it does create a vritti. A vritti is this type of thing, what I'm doing right now to the Golden Gate Bridge, apparently, but I'm doing it here. It creates a vibration, but it is a subtle vibration. And unless you are very sensitive to these levels, you may not feel the effect of the mantra because it'll happen at a subtle level. So I suggest if you're starting out, do it out loud. Okay. Second question. Should I go for quality or quantity? Should I do 108 Mahamrityunjaya mantras? Om Drambagam Yajame Sugandim Pushdivardhanam Murvarukamiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyam Amratat. If you do that 108 times, it's going to take you at least 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, depending on how fast you go. So do I go for quantity or quality? Quality means utmost focus on the mantra with your heart and your mind. And that only happens when you're completely still inside. And that's step 3. So the answer is always go for quality, unless otherwise directed by a particular tradition where you have to do, say, 100,000 of these mantras in a specific period. This is called an anusthana, which means within that period, you got to hit your goals, got to hit your sales to get that bonus. Okay. In that case, and if that's your tradition, go for the quantity, but still, I'm sure we've all seen these priests, Christian priests, Hindu priests, Buddhist priests. kind of falling asleep doing their mantra, right? There is some beauty and grace in that, but the problem is a mantra is a connection between your mana, which is here. The mind in Sanskrit is in here in the chest. It is not here. This is the buddhi typically, but the manas is here. So it's a connection between your heart and the heart of what you are trying to invoke. So if your mana is asleep, or you're distracted, or you're thinking about your laundry, stop. As Jesus said, if you sit down to pray, but you remember that you have wronged your brother, or your friend, is mad at you, go fix that first. If that's on your mind, don't sit down and pray. Praying is not going to help. Go fix the situation. Mantras are very practical. They don't exist in a vacuum. They are part of your everyday reality. And if your everyday reality is imbalanced, try to balance that first so that when you sit, you can focus. All right. Number 3, basic preparation. What do we do? Well, first, clean your mouth. Don't eat garlic and onions and then start praying to Lakshmi, because all you're going to get is garlic and onions. Clean your mouth and brush your teeth. Number 1. Number 2, choose a position in which you're not going to squirm a lot. Squirming creates vritti, creates movement in other areas aside from the area you're trying. So your mantra is creating a vibration, right? But if you're also vibrating, you're competing with that. And I'm sure you've all had this, like where your back is tight. Oh, my knee hurts. Okay. Sit. Here's the goal for a mantra. Sit and don't move. Could be 30 seconds, could be 5 minutes, and do your mantra. Om Gangarnabadaye Namaha, 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 Om Gangarnabadaye Namaha. Don't move. Don't move your fingers. Don't move your toes. Don't move any part of your body. Then the vibration of the mantra is the only movement, and you can get absorbed in that. And you may find that the things you thought were uncomfortable disappear because everything gets absorbed into the mantra. Does this make sense? So now don't be hard on yourself. If you can only do 30 seconds, do 30 seconds, then okay, move, change position, and get ready again and sit. But you will find that the moment you start moving around, your mantra practice is done. You're done for that session. If it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever. This goes back to quality over quantity. Quality means you are sitting and all there is the vibration of the mantra. Okay? The moment you're moving around, yawning, stretching, your mantra practice is done, brother, sister. It is done. Go lie down in Shavasana and let all the vibrations sort of percolate. This is why we do yoga. This is why yoga exists in the first place. Did you know that there were only a couple of yoga asanas, 2 or 3 originally? There's no downward dog. There's no such thing as upward dog, downward dog, triangle pose. No, that came much later. The original asanas, and that's why they're called asanas, means seated. Seats, literally means seats, are Siddhasana, Padmasana, and Siddha Yoni Asana for women, and one other one, I guess. Because those are the positions in which you can't move, or where it's easiest not to move. So this is why you do yoga, so you don't have to move. Get all your yayas out, doing your practice, stretch, open the channels, move the energy, so that when you sit, it doesn't have to be right after your practice, because you're still vibrating with yoga, right? It could be later, or it could be before your practice even. But when you sit, no vibration. Yogaha chittavritti nirodha. Yoga is the cessations of the vrittis, the fluctuations of the mind stuff. Tadadrashtu swarupe vasthanam. Then the seer, drashtuhu, abides in its own self. The seer is not masculine or feminine. That part of you that is the seer abides in itself. Vritti sarupya mitaratra. Vritti. Otherwise, you're part of the vritti. So if you're stretching, you're part of the vritti. You're not abiding in yourself. Okay. So I'm making a big point of this, but hey, you asked, or maybe you didn't, but some of you asked, I think, so you're watching this video. If you've come to this video, then this is a divine blessing, hopefully, for you, because this is the information you need to hear. And if you're annoyed by this video, then you don't need to hear this. You're not ready for this. Okay, so consider that everything you watch, everything that you expose yourself to, in a way, you have a anubandhana, rana anubandhana, you have a connection with. But I try to make content that is not fast food. Sometimes it's a little, sweet and sugary, but that is rather health food, hopefully, for you. So if you're ready for that program, then then I hope this is useful to you. Third and less important, okay, is face in auspicious direction. Typically, you face east. If you can't face east, face north. If your ascendant is a south-facing ascendant, you could get away with facing south, but you probably want to face north. So east. So for all practical purposes, try to face east, especially when you are starting out. All right, next step. How to choose a mantra. Doesn't the mantra choose you? Well, yeah, sometimes. But when in doubt, start with a Ganesha mantra. So when I first began, look, I was teaching Sanskrit at the Ayurvedic and astrology at the Ayurvedic Institute, and I was at a point where I needed to find my mantra. I had been initiated into some mantras before, done some things, but nothing really stuck with me. So I said, okay, I'm going to start with Ganesha. And I did several months of the Ganapati Atharva Shirsham, which is a mid-range mantra. It takes about 5 to 7 minutes or so to finish it, depending on how fast you go, or faster. And I chose to do that every day. Now, it wasn't because that was like my mantra, like that was it. But when you start with Ganesh, that is the first step. It's like getting to your travel agent. He takes care of all the obstacles and the problems with getting your visa and so forth, so you can travel to where you need to go. So that may be one way to go. That's something that worked for me. But the alternative is you have a guru or a teacher or a tradition, whether it's whether it's the Maharishi tradition, Mahesh Yogi, their practices, or Deepak Chopra or Sadhguru or whoever else who has given you a mantra. Deepak Chopra used to do this thing called primordial sound. All it is the sound of your moon in your horoscope. It's very simple. He used to charge a bunch of money for it, but it's yours. It's in your chart. It's free for you, okay, if you know how to find it. The point is, wherever you get your mantra, start with that, and it's okay to mess around, meaning to try something. If it doesn't work, you can try something else. You're not, it's like in school, you take geometry, you take literature, you take art, you take gym. One of those usually you like more than the other. Okay, so then you continue in that, right? But you don't know until you try it. But my recommendation, start with the Ganesha mantra or one given to you by your teacher and see where that takes you, okay? Next, it's important to know why you're doing the mantra. And for most of us, 99% of us, it is for purification. The best mantras are multi-purpose, but purification is the number one goal for most of your journey. What do I mean by that? Whether you're doing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the Hare Krishna mantra, or you're doing Om Ganganapadaye Namaha. Typically, when you begin doing that mantra, and these are multi-purpose mantras, the first goal will be to purify your mind and your heart. This is why it is so ironic that people who start doing a spiritual tradition like Hare Krishnas or Christians, in the first year of their practice, they go out and start preaching to people, you should do this, you should do this. You know why they do that? Because they haven't purified. If you're purified, you see people where they're at, and you don't try to convert them because you understand that you don't know better than God what's best for that person. But beginners, when they first start doing something and they feel energy, they feel it works, they start wanting to convert everybody. This is the way. I'm not picking on anybody. Every religion does this. Christians do it, Hindus do it, all the sects within those traditions do it, and so forth. So once, and as Jesus said, before you try to judge someone else, take out the log from your own eye, meaning if someone has a little speck, make sure you don't have a log in your eye. Remove that first so you can see clearly. That is purification. So the first part of mantra is to purify. And that will take you most of the way. That may take years because purification, cleaning is always happening, guys, always happening. But once you get to a certain point, and this is, again, why you don't want to do things like material mantras unless you absolutely need to, like your health is really bad, then you can go straight to a material mantra. But unless you've purified, you may not really know what's best for you. Man, my toes really hurt. I'm going to do a toe mantra. Well, wait a minute. Maybe your toes hurt because you're standing in heels all day, doing a job that you hate, and your body's trying to tell you something. Well, don't do a mantra to heal your toes. Pay attention to what the pain is telling you. Okay, so sometimes you don't want to do a mantra for a material thing unless you've really gone into it and you're sure that that is what you want. Oh, no, I really need a Mercedes, Simon. I really need it. And I know, I have faith in you that your mantra will help me get that Mercedes. Are you sure? Okay. Now, if you're sure, then go for it. You know, Tony Robbins, there are a lot of wealth and prosperity gurus out there. There's nothing wrong with having a Mercedes, nothing wrong with having prosperity, as long as you're aligned with and understand that that is what is right for you. That is what your chart also shows. And you're okay with the consequences of that, because there are always consequences. Money has an energy. The more money you have, the more that energy begins to take over. And you begin thinking you are a very important person. I think everyone who's had money in their life at some point has experienced that. And, you know, you go like, whoa, am I thinking these things? This is crazy. Simon, that's not you, but you're behaving that way. Oh my God, it's the money. You know, once you realize that this thing, money is Shakti, it's energy. So whatever you're going to attract in your life, first purify. First spend at least a year or two doing mantras to purify before you do anything in the material realm. The final level, of course, are mantras for grace and blessing. What are those? Mantras that have no explicit aim. Things like the Vishnu Sahasranama, the Hare Krishna mantra, chanting the names of God, basically. Or just chanting Ram, 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 Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Or Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. The names of the divine. There's no explicit purpose. You're simply chanting for grace. All right, let's finish this up. Types of mantras. They're very short mantras. They're mid-range mantras and long ones. Got some examples here. You know, the shortest are called bija mantras. Now, there are even bijas for parts of the body. So this is from Sanskrit without stress. If you want to get all of these bijas, that's in my program called Sanskrit Without Stress on my website. But this article is by Dr. Vasant Lad. So go to ayurveda.com. That is the website for the Ayurvedic Institute, and you'll find all of these resources there. And he has published the comprehensive volume on mantras and bijas related to the physical body and well-being. For example, Hrum, 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 Hrum. This is a mantra for the liver or the liver. Vrum, 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 vrum. This is the mantra for the kidneys. Beam, beam, and then bum for men, the testes. And so forth. So hum, hum for the lungs. So one time we were in class at the Ayurvedic Institute, and one way to test what organs are working or not working in the body, if you will believe this, now you're going to really think I'm crazy and you're going to want to push me over this bridge behind me, is I have people repeat the Sanskrit alphabet, I, u, u, and so forth. And one girl got to ta, and she was like, like really emphasizing it. Now, I know ta relates to the lungs, the aspirated cerebral ta, ta, okay? And I asked her, hey, have you been doing a lot of aerobic exercise lately? She's like, oh my God, yeah, that's what I've been doing. In fact, I just walked up the hill to the institute and I ran up the hill, right? And it wasn't like she was out of breath. She was not out of breath. It was just when she got to that sound, ta, 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 I heard that extra, right? Anyway, so there are bijas for organs. There are bijas also for chakras, as you probably know. Like here are the bijas for the chakras. And like we have yam for the heart, ram for the solar plexus, vam for the second chakra, lam. Okay, don't listen to that. This is lum, 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 which is also the bija for Ganesh. One of the bijas, om, lung, lung, gung, ganapati. Lung is the bija for the root chakra where Ganesh sleeps. Vam is the second chakra, ram, the third, yum, the fourth, hum, and om, which is the Sahasrara. By the way, again, this is from my Sanskrit Without Stress. If you want to know how to read these, it's very easy, guys. It doesn't take a lot of work. Then if you're an artist, you can paint them and you can connect to these bijas in so many ways. Check out that course on decodingvedicwisdom.com. So there are bijas for so many things, and you will see these articles by Dr. Vasant Lad, and do go to ayurveda.com to check out his stuff. Here is another. This is drawn by Dr. Vasant Lad. And you will see this is the Mantra Purusha, the embodiment of mantra. And then, of course, once you read these, you can invoke this. This is more of a tantric sort of practice. So the point is what is the point, Simon? Get to the point, man. It is already so many minutes you are doing this thing. What is the point? Okay, the point is these are the short mantras, bijas. There is a specific time and way to do them when you want a quick, powerful effect. Also, when you're in a hurry. The office is going, they're calling, I got to be there in 10 minutes, but I don't want to leave the house without offering my obeisances. Instead of doing a 20-minute mantra, I can just say, Om Ganganapataye Namaha, right? For Ganesh, Om Ramagnaye Swaha, for the five, whatever you want to, then those are bija sounds when you're in a hurry. The longest ones are the Sahasranamas, the Shri Rudram, and so forth that take an hour or more to do, or sometimes 30 minutes or more to do. And then mid-range ones like the Shri Suktam, the Ganapati Atharva Shirsham, and others, which take between 5 to 15 minutes or so to do. All right, that's oh no, one more slide here. Mantra effects. What can you expect? First step, as I said, is purification. Guys, it feels good to purify. It's like when you do a fast, doesn't it feel good? It hurts at first, but the effect is you feel clear. The second part, and that's 80% of it, by the way. So this is 80% of the practice. Recognition or worship is 15% of practice. That is, you get to a point after you've purified where you see your deity, where you recognize the deity, or you see them in others. God starts speaking to you through your dog, through the guy at McDonald's. But of course, you're probably not at McDonald's if you're at that stage, but maybe you went in to use the bathroom or to ask the time or to get change. Whatever it is, there's God on the other side of the counter speaking to you, saying, please don't come to McDonald's. Okay. The third step is absorption. And by the way, these are the steps of yoga. Okay. This is samadhi. Samadhi, becoming. It's like when you have a mirror and you've got mud. The first part is you got to put a lot of work into cleaning that mirror. As you do, you begin to see a form, a shape in it, and you go, oh, there's a form, there's a shape here. As you fully finish, you realize, oh, that shape is me. I am that. Tattvamasi. Aham Brahmasmi. Brahmasmi. I am that. And so absorption into the divine is what happens at the last stage. And as the Yoga Sutras say, once that happens, a person is never the same. Once they have seen and interfaced with the face of God, all the seeds of karma are burnt. You used to love chocolate. You don't care if you have chocolate or not anymore. You used to love sex. You don't care if you have sex or not anymore. You're done. Your goose is cooked. Now, you still work, right? What happens before you're enlightened? Chop wood and carry water. This is the Taoist dictum. What happens after you get enlightened? You chop wood and carry water. But you do it in a much different way because you're full inside. You're full. There's no, the seeds of desire are burnt. And that's how you know if someone is enlightened. If it's a guru and they're trying to make a shit ton of money, nope. They might have gotten a glimpse, but they ain't there yet. If, whatever it is, when you're there, it's a whole different ballgame. And when you're around people who have been there or have at least, got the whiff of it, the energy that they emanate is very special and you will know it. All right, ladies and gents, this is the end of this part. If you want to know more about mantras and specific mantras, I'd be happy to do another video. And remember, good mantras are always cleaning you on the physical level, the emotional level, and on the energetic level and the deeper psychological levels. The more you do your mantra, it could be just one name of the divine. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. It could be a long mantra. Whatever it is, good mantras are always cleaning you as you do them. But you can't fall asleep. There has to be some part of you that is devoted, that is there paying attention. Refer to point 1. Hari Om. Thank you, everyone. And okay, sir, 33 minutes already are gone. Huh? You're going to do another one? You're going to bore us for another hour? Okay, maybe not. The inner cynic in me is saying don't do anymore. But that's it for now. If you do want to see more, let me know, and we will see you in the next one. Hari Om.